YAYtears Summer Playoffs.
Quarterfinal number 4. Let's go!
We are ready to go with the 4th quarterfinal and the last one of the day, with semis and the grand finals coming up a little bit later on. But first, we need to decide who is going to be joining the other 3 players at the Summer Championships. Is it going to be Amnesiasc? Is it going to be YAYtears? The answer is going to come to us very, very quickly, I imagine.
It is indeed, and the USA fans can rejoice because although you haven't got a representative just yet, these are 2 USA representatives going up against each other to take that final spot.
Yeah, and this matchup is actually a rematch from round number 5, where Amnesiasc swept YAYtears 3-0. So that's going to be a huge confidence boost for Amnesiasc, not that he needs it. And, you know, could be the second rematch in the quarterfinals we see with the purple match earlier on, where he also, you know, replicated his success from the previous one. So huge for Amnesiasc here, just going up against someone for the winning in match, where it's like, yeah, 3-0'd him last time. Feels good. Yeah,
Amnesiasc did that to a large number of his opponents during the Swiss. I think we got the stat that he only went to Game 5 in 1 of his series. Everything else was a 3-0 or a 3-1. So he's been putting in some dominant performances yesterday, and I think for the little we saw of him a couple of times on stream, his play was reflecting that. He's brought, in my opinion, the best possible lineup, and he's been playing fantastic to back that up.
I'll be honest, I would love to see Amnesiasc at the Summer Championships, but my heart is split. Because YAYtears is playing Hunter, and we just saw Nalgodan do very, very well with his Hunter. He actually attributed a lot of his tournament success to his Hunter, which sometimes I don't think anyone would have thought, any of us would have said in the past couple of months. And YAYtears has got the same, so we have 2 top 8 players with Hunter in the lineup. And from the looks of it and from the stats we've discussed in the last day or so, it's been going pretty well for them.
Yeah, we kept getting more and more stats. You know, the combined record in Swiss of all the players that brought Hunter was around 70%. Hunter itself was around 70% win rate.
So Topo Pablo have his Hunter banned
exactly
as well.
So it turns out, you know, a couple of people did come out and say, you know, with foresight, that Hunter might be a great call for this tournament, and it turns out that that was a great call. But Amnesiasc did the very same. I looked at these lineups and thought that Amnesiasc and Ike's lineup, which they share, looked fantastic against the field. Me doing that was not difficult, because I could look at all the deck lists and say, this lineup is great, the matchups just work out. Amnesiasc had to do that with foresight. He had to plan for an unknown meta before the tournament. He got the read down pat, and he's brought a fantastic lineup with him as well.
Yeah, and we're kicking off game number 1 of the last quarter-final. Amnesiasc versus YAYtears. YAYtears on the Hunter and Amnesiasc on the Priest. And now Deathstalker Rexxar in the opening hand. That's pretty good. It's not perfect, of course, but having it available in a match, you probably assume, you know, if you don't blow them out straight away, then it is going to go to a bit of a later game. Having that juice is actually pretty strong. Yeah,
I think, you know, if you were ensured that you had a 1 into 2 as a decent start, then you'd almost certainly keep Deathstalker Rexxar. I saw actually Firebat playing this deck, and he just kept it without anything else in the mull and just hoped that he drew good enough cards. So in this matchup specifically, having that consistent pressure to fall back on late game is huge, because the big problem why Hunter has just fallen off as an aggro deck is that they just don't have gas to keep going. Once you beat that initial push, they're very often just out of resources, and you can stabilize very easily as a mid-range or control deck.
Yeah, the Razor Maw coming down there on turn 2 and not being able to buff a beast isn't some kind of misplay by YAYtears at all. Could have coined Animal Companion, but it's more impactful on a bigger board is Animal Companion, and also holding the coin.
Yeah.
Double 6 drops in hand, high main plus Rexxar. You get one of those out on 5, probably high main, then you're feeling pretty good.
Yeah, I think if we'd have seen a more of a low curve hand from YAYtears, then playing the hand the other way around, coin Animal Companion into Razor Maw would have been more viable. But as you say, with the 2 6 drops, that coin has
it's a combination of everything, right?
Yeah, exactly.
And still, there's no perfect way often to deal with this 3-2. Doomsayer is going to come down, but YAYtears has the on-demand deadly shot. And to be honest, yeah, I was going to say, it's that or literally roll an Animal Companion and cross your fingers, because what else is deadly shot going to be worthwhile in later game? You know, the Raza, the Elise on 5. Other than that, you know, there's not a lot else, and this gains you so much tempo.
Crucially as well, Amnesiasc maximized his chances. He took Leok out of the equation by potion of Madnessing away on the minions. So He's put himself in good spot and just against the Huffer roll and Deadly Shot. Those are the two answers.
Speaking of Huffer.
Hey, there was a Huffer inside there the whole time.
Pig him. 6-1 record with Hunter. YAYtears, as we said, it's actually kind of ridiculous. I don't think anyone would have expected it outside of, what, RDU, Asmodai, and Orange? I think
Sounds
were the
about
three
right.
main proponents of Hunter.
Yep.
Very recently, of course.
Worth noticing that, oh, well, I was about to talk about one of YAYtears' deck lists, but Amnesiasc has a couple of, let's say, semi-interesting choices in his Priest. Velen is almost certainly standard throughout these days.
In week 3 of HCT.
Exactly, but
yes.
that's developed as time has gone on. In week 1, it was somewhere around 50-50, honestly,
think so.
I think of whether it was being played or not. Elise is a value engine that often competes with more card draw or a Mind Blast, just in terms of what you're wanting to play. Acolyte of Pain is a card draw effect that often misses out in the deck. It doesn't always come down because it's hard to play and then immediately kill in the mirror, unlike, say, a Loot Hoarder, which you can always deny your opponent getting value out of.
Hydra, big talking point of Hunter. Pretty much, in a lot of people's opinions, the card that makes Hunter good now is this Hydra. Very difficult to deal with. We've seen Hydras coming out of the Pirate Warriors mainly in this matchup. And Priest is like, yes, do you have Anduin? Can you even get to Anduin? No. Do you have Death? No. Well, get wrecked.
And,
basically.
Yeah, graphics, production, and game in perfect harmony, because the YAYtears deck list that I wanted to talk about was his Hunter, and it was the fact that he has those Hydras in there. This is the more like the orange list than the Asmodai one that we've seen before. This is a huge card that I love seeing in any super aggressive deck. Bittertide Hydra can just be single-handedly game-winning, as you said.
Yeah, and when you go on top of that with a high main, it's like, well, if you couldn't kill one, what are you doing to the other one? And the other one, like, poops out another 2/2s onto the board. So.
Sorry?
I said it drops 2/2s onto the board.
Okay. I didn't realize that's how death rattles worked.
Oh, yeah, I'm sure it's in the lore somewhere.
It makes Sylvanas strange and confusing to me.
It's gonna go for Rexar this turn, though, as it is a very clean kill and just defend the Hydra a little bit. So much damage. There's Anduin. But nothing to do this turn. What's interesting there, that Rexar? Because one of the drawbacks of this card is Dawn Hero Power is pretty good. Like 2 mana, deal 2 damage to face almost every turn. Like that's actually pretty strong. And now YAYtears doesn't have access to that. So a lot of builder beasts come down to, do I have charge? Do I have untargetable? You know, along these keywords is what you're trying to look for to make something stick long enough to actually get hit in.
Yeah, it does seem with tracking in hand as well that he could have just relied on damage and stayed going fishing for those kill commands, Eagle Horn Bows, whatever he needs to be able to finish the game. But then you do kind of walk into greater healing potions sometimes, right?
Look
and
at this.
Be able to blow the game out. But wow, that is some zombies.
And I like this now. If you're not going to play high main last turn, do not play into turn 8 against Priest. Just don't. Look at this extra health on the Hydra. Not going to be too impactful because we can see the Anduin, but there's a 4/3 Razormaw on the board now. Anduin takes up the whole turn, and most importantly, the Elise was not Raza, which means there is no hero power this turn. Still kill commands left.
YAYtears visibly upset with that Anduin coming down, though.
Oh, and Houndmaster.
Time to giddy up.
He wasn't going to build a Bear Shark. And
yeah, untargetable is, of course, a big sticking point for you because it does remove the ability for Amnesiasc to just shoot stuff down with the hero power. But at this point, Amnesiasc just removed his own healing ability by playing Shadow Reaper.
Already played Potion.
Yeah.
And now Houndmaster, look at this board. What are the odds on Amnesiasc emptying this board? I think impossible.
It may be, yeah.
I don't think the cards are there.
Tending towards 0%.
Yes, which means, guess what? Houndmaster's landing for an additional 2 damage next turn. Or you could just build a beast and kill him. Elise into Elise. The old infinite combo.
Ironhide.
Doesn't matter.
He did have the silence, so Dragonfire Potion would have been huge here. And that would have allowed him to have that 2-mana follow-up, that would have been his available board clear, right? 0-mana silence on the high main, Dragonfire Potion, and then shoot down the remainder of the Kindly Grandmother. That was his one out in that position that I can think of, with natural priest cards, right? When the Ungoro pack got cracked open, maybe some craziness can happen.
Is Hunter just going to do it again here? There's 11 available right now from YAYtears, regardless of what he draws. There's 14. He needs a pig. Oh, hang on, he can just track into kill command.
Nope. 1 mana short. Right?
What?
Oh, he doesn't need the bow with kill command.
Yeah. Is this his first pick? I blinked.
He snap picked Tundra Rhino. Yeah. When you see Tundra Rhino, you pick Tundra Rhino because that thing just gets the party started.
Mana Rhino. Finally, this coin being used here. Basically for +3 damage and. Yep. Not much to do now from Amnesiasc. Great healing potion already gone. There's at least 3 damage because there's no weapon removal next turn. No way to heal up. Ironhide is healing up, but nowhere near enough. And it looks like Hunter's done it again. Also, as well, something to bear in note. After the patch comes in with the nerfs, it's only like a natural boost to Hunter's power.
Because the other aggressive decks get weaker.
Exactly, yeah.
Amnesiasc probably going to take the Dragonfire Potion here, take the full clear with the silence we were talking about before, but the Tundra Rhino is just going to be good enough even after the Ironhide gives Amnesiasc hope that he may be alive. Yeah,
this is a stabilization that shouldn't be allowed to happen, but at least made it happen, and it's still not enough.
And YAYtears looks positively ecstatic about charging a 7/10 Tundra Rhino at his opponent's face.
Amnesiasc, not even changed facial expression. He's like, yeah, well, you know, Hunter builds a beast every turn. They're probably going to be at least good, I would say. It's not often you completely whiff twice when you're building that beast.
Yeah, and the pool's not actually that diverse. When you consider you're picking from 3 each time and it's limited to 5 mana or below, your chances of, if you're looking for a specific thing like a taunt effect, a poisonous effect, a charge effect, it's not that unlikely.
Because also it's limited to keywords and text. Right. So you're not going to get often a blank minion, for example. So yeah, it's going to be 1-0 up for YAYtears, that Hunter.
And here's a big talking point. Tears' Hunter in this tournament so far is 6-1. And he got 0-3 by Amnesiasc last time they played, but he never queued the Hunter. So he is 1-0 against Amnesiasc now with that Hunter and 0-3 with all of his other decks combined.
Well, I guess the easy part is maybe done now for YAYtears. If you look at off those stats, I guess it is down to this warrior and the priest. The warrior being pirates and the priest, to no one's surprise, being Highlander.
Yes. Amnesiasc, incredible records with basically all of his classes. Druid has been 100% banned. He's 0-0 with it, but 7-2 with Paladin, 7-2 with Priest, 6-3 with his Warrior. It just goes to show, again, the power of his lineup. Every deck is pulling weight.
Yeah, kind of a little bit away from, say, Purple's lineup, where he said he was, even the wins he was getting with Warlock were struggling, so...
And which deck is the difference between Purple's lineup and Amnesiac's lineup? The Warlock.
Going into game number 2, Amnesiasc back on the Priest. YAYtears also on the Priest, and I believe these lists are extremely similar. You can see the Elise in YAYtears' hand there, so there is that already. There is no Acolyte, though.
No, YAYtears does not play Acolyte.
Is someone injured?
Oh, do they play the stare-down game now? I was going to say it's quite hard to punish a cleric. But do you counter it with your own cleric?
Yeah, I think since YAYtears is curving into a 3-3 next turn anyway, he just feels fine about just challenging the cleric on board. He doesn't need to play the risk-reward game of just both having a cleric on the board. And especially since if you're the second person to play the cleric, you put all the choices in your opponent's hand, right? Do they want to nudge and take the trade and you both draw a card? Do they want to deal with it? The point is, it's their choice either way.
Yeah, and one of the problems is if you need value from the cleric and they just develop a minion, then you're like, I'm just even more behind now.
Exactly, yeah.
Awkward. Amnesiasc does just have the Galactic Crawler. A lot lower impact in this kind of matchup than it is in most. It's not as if it's going to normally be battling for board. We do see that the two minions combined now from Amnesiasc will be able to take down the Glimmer Root.
Ooh, extra Holy Smite for the deck is very useful if he can work his way towards that Raza and win later on, or pick up that Prophet Velen for massive amounts of damage.
With Spirit Lash trade here, looking like Amnesiasc eyeing up. You could Spirit Lash trade and then heal if he wanted to use the coin. Because if you look at Amnesiac's hand, his coin isn't leading him to anything at this moment. It's very different to YAYtears' hand where, you know, he has Kazakus, he has Elise, he has Lyra, he has the next few turns kind of, you know, lined up in a nice little row there. Amnesiasc doesn't really have to, so I think, yeah, this is nice. Just using the coin saying, well, I kind of want to get somewhere. Oh, okay.
This leaves the Cleric on the board injured to potentially draw another card on the following turn.
Not the most natural-looking plays, to be honest, to heal the minion you know is going to die versus the one you know is going to live.
Yeah, but this is the thing with Priest, like, the deck is so tunnel-visioned around specific cards that it then, by extension, becomes very tunnel-visioned around drawing cards in matchups where getting to that win condition is all that matters. And that means very unusual plays happen because they draw more cards than the play that would give you a better board position.
It's like playing Miracle Rogue without gadgets then. You have to like really put the work in to get your card draw going. Holy Smite got off Glimmer is a very clean kill now though. But now Amnesiasc can use Potion to draw a card off YAYtears' Loot Hoarder.
Yes.
It really is just draw wars at the moment. YAYtears is going to start dropping threats onto the board, though, because at least you might think, well, you know, it's all about the pack. Actually, a 5/5 that can't really be dealt with starts beating your opponent up and also will start dealing with any minions they also play, because a 5/5 can pretty much kill anything this deck has outside of Velen.
Yeah. And you can see there the stats we talked about earlier with Amnesiasc, taking out his loss against Purple. All of his wins have been 3-1 or better, apart from that opening round where Denka took him the distance.
Very impressive run so far from Amnesiasc. He has managed to draw into some key cards now. Kazakus, even Priest of the Feast outside Shadow Word Pain is actually a pain to deal with for his opponent, as there's nothing that directly kills it. Kazakus Potion, now we're going to see what exactly is going to get picked up here. I imagine draw 2 cards was a very high priority for Amnesiasc.
Yeah, this is something we talked about the last series we cast, which is you almost always want to go with a Kazakus 1-mana potion if the game is going well for you. And as I just talked about, whether or not the game is going well is a very simple equation. It's just how many pieces of that ultimate combo you do have in your hand already. Well, Amnesiasc has none of them, so he's looking for a more high-value potion to either give him some kind of alternate push on the board or draw him some more cards.
Yeah, if he summons 2, then there's Golakka Crawler, there is the Northshire Cleric, and
the Loot Hoarder that you potion a man.
The Loot Hoarder and Kazakus.
Yeah.
So he's got 50% chance of generating some additional card draw potential.
Yeah. Choosing to stick this board
Did
as well.
summon 2, draw 2. Okay. That's a battling back card if I've ever seen one.
That's very possibly draw 3 when you factor in the fact that the Loot Hoarder can come back, or even more than that if he can get value off that Cleric. Even with Holy Nova sometimes, he can resummon a Cleric and then get Holy Nova value, which would be absolutely insane.
He's going to use the potion now as the 2 minions on board if he traded them away first. Doesn't really want them. He wants the cycle, and he does get the 50% there with the Loot Hoarder. Probably slightly better because the Loot Hoarder is almost guaranteed card draw. I mean, it can be potioned or whatever, but generally that is card draw.
Yeah.
Whereas Cleric doesn't draw a card without some kind of heal effect.
Sure. No Cabal Shadow Priest in YAYtears list either, so Potion of Madness is his one and only tool to manipulate that Loot Hoarder right now.
I wonder whether Amnesiasc just pushes damage here. Because the Elise is still just one minion against a wide board. If your opponent Dragonfires, well, Elise dies anyway. You may as well provide the threats where you can.
Yeah, and actually in this matchup, in scrappy games like this, where you don't have the clean Raza Anduin setup going, pushing damage actually becomes a lot better, because it may be, you know, Amnesiasc has neither piece in his hand right now, so he can just pick up Shadow Reaper Anduin at some point, play it on 8. When you don't have the 0 mana hero power, you're not pushing 20 to 30 damage over a couple of turns, you're going to push 8 to 12. So suddenly, being able to push through early damage and seizing tempo becomes a bigger win condition for you.
Here we see YAYtears going for the 1 mana potion now. Probably feeling that he is looking pretty okay. And the double whammy of, well, he has Anduin, and also he has Lyra.
Yes.
So it's Anduin, and then next turn could be Lyra 1 mana potion, just to start cycling, get a couple of hero powers out if he's got the room. But just keeping his options open. We'll have a check what the potion is, because I missed it unless you saw it.
Deal 2, gain 4 armor.
Oh, okay, okay.
Sorry, do 2 AoE, gain 4 armor. Should be more specific. I know these shorthands for the Kazakus potions are probably understood by most, but those of you who don't know the effects too well probably get very...
Most, but not all. He's managed to clear the board and defend this Elise. So the question's kind of back on Amnesiasc, like, how do you kill this Elise? Do you kill this Elise now? What are your other development options?
That's honestly a win. Like, think about how much Amnesiasc got paid out for that aggressive push that he took last turn. By taking the resummon potion and then pushing damage, YAYtears reacted by taking a 1 mana Kazakus potion, which is normally a sign of panic in the first place. In this matchup, a 1 mana potion is actually very valuable, but then on top of that, he was forced to use the 1 mana potion immediately for very little value.
Yeah, and this is nice here, getting the Thalnos down when Potion of Madness, there we go, will not get initial value. There's nothing to trade the Thalnos into.
Yeah, the problem is you expect your opponent to Shadow Reaper Anduin on 8 a lot of the time, and then there still won't be a minion for you to trade your Blood Mage Thalnos into. But also, Amnesiasc just believes that there probably isn't a Potion of Madness in hand because he just had a Loot Hoarder pay out for him. So he's just happy to drop the Blood Mage down in this spot. And oh, there we go.
Amnesiasc's like, yeah, I guess don't need to draw Raza.
Let me just make sure, which of these cards does my opponent's Raza Priest play in its
Shadow
deck?
form, obviously. It does 2 damage a turn. This, I want to focus on YAYtears' expression when this Raza comes down. I don't see why it wouldn't be this turn.
If we could just have dramatic zoom on YAYtears'
Oh, that would be
face.
glorious. If we could control that. Missed a spotlight opportunity.
You may Shadow Word Horror. Yeah, I was just about to pull
really
this
wants
out.
to draw. Second Raza. Oh.
There's the Velen as well, so everything's starting to come together. He is a Shadow Reaper Anduin away from glory right now, because this hand goes very nicely with that Prophet Velen as well.
Elemental, Smite,
yeah,
Shadow Visions.
Good news for Amnesiasc. Very weak turn coming out from YAYtears. He's 6 cards ahead. 6.
It's a lot. That's what happens when you play kind of 2 minions in a singleton deck. 2 Loot Orders go.
Yeah. He cycled off his Cleric. He got value out of his potion. He denied potion value from his opponent with the play that you just saw with Shadow Word Horror.
Loot Hoarder.
Resummoned the Loot Hoarder that he Potion of Madness from the opponent. Like, he is cycled so much deeper. And actually, despite that, the tools that he needs, the Raza the Chained, has been nothing to do with his card draw. He just stole that from the opponent.
Good old Glimmer Root.
Oh, YAYtears, no reaction. Oh.
You might not have even looked or noticed. It's not like it's a surprising card for your opponent to play.
Yeah, the card text is pretty big when it gets played, though, the created by text.
He was just checking his hair out.
That's fair. Just super focused on his own hand right now. More importantly, or more likely, he's probably just keeping his cool. Just trying not to overreact to anything. Make sure he stays composed. You know, these things happen in a game of Hearthstone. It's not that unlikely.
There's also the benefit that he does have Anduin, his opponent doesn't.
Yeah.
So it's not like, oh no, my opponent's just played Raza, Anduin, Velen damage. You know, it's like, well, okay, he played Raza on turn 9. Fine. Second bite size. Trade off the Glimmer here. Making sure it's 0. Oh, mind. Definitely not bad. There's a pack.
Sick. Extra pack for value, yeah. Gives him a 5/5 back, though, so his Lyra does just die on the board. We'd love to pick up Shadow of Pain, some kind of effect from the Lyra to be able to kill that Raza before handing it back.
Always got me how silence interacts with steel turns.
Yeah, because you know Shadow Madness type effects actually put card text onto the card that you steal, which you can see if you mouse over it at the time, and then silence, what it does is removes card text, so it just returns back to the opponent.
Yeah, I genuinely thought for a long time you'd do it and then it just becomes your minion, right? Because you pulled it over, then you've silenced it, and now it's just a blank minion. But that's not, you remove the this is your minion this turn text.
Right.
It's a shame.
It is a shame. You gotta tech in that youthful brewmaster if you want to make that happen.
Yeah, brilliant. Maybe.
Used to be a real thing with Recombobulator back in the day. Because you'd Shadow Madness a minion and then recombobulate it, and then the new minion does not have the Shadow Madness effect on it.
Wow, Dragonfire. He's just wanting the damage. Now though, although YAYtears is behind in cards, quite dramatically so, he kind of has like more cards still. Oh!
That's huge! The Devour Mind was massive, and since the Raza and the Anduin were both in the deck, it was likely that he picked up a great tool, but the Raza was so much better for him, and now both of these players have played each other's Raza the Chained this matchup.
Whatever you can do, I can do as well, is what YAYtears is saying to him now.
Priest in a nutshell, Raven.
Wow, Devour Mind from Lyra into Raza.
Yes.
Now Amnesiac's like, huh, this Raza's now just a 5-mana 5/5. How good is that? Not very.
Kripparrian video coming tomorrow. How good is a 5-mana 5/5?
Don't know. If it's got stealth, it's alright. It's a beast. Sorry, Equestrian.
No great answer to it, and that Shadow Visions is a fantastic tool for Amnesiac's Prophet Velen, so whether or not he does want to go fishing with it is up for debate here. But there is a 5/5 on the board threatening huge amounts of damage behind what is now the fully discounted Anduin hero power to be able to follow all this up.
I think he's here. He probably doesn't want to play Elise. That's an extra card in his deck.
Right.
He needs his Anduin.
Oh yeah, 100%.
He's going to go for the Raza as the different 5/5 to play.
It's one of the big arguments why some people don't like Elise in this deck. It's, you know, putting a pack into your deck is just counterintuitive. You know, we've seen Topo Pablo in this tournament play a card that blows up his deck so that he can get to the key cards more
consistently. He does put a deck in his deck, though.
He puts a deck in his deck after he blows up his deck and then draws the one part of his deck that makes his deck good.
Deck. Ooh, okay, a timely Shadow Word Death there.
This is looking extremely good for YAYtears in this spot.
Let's bear in mind, Amnesiac and YAYtears both playing win and in match to Summer Championships.
Yeah.
Amnesiac's already missed once this year.
Yeah.
In this situation.
Yeah. And again, Amnesiac might be feeling very hard done by in this spot because both his natural Raza and his Anduin are buried so deep, but he's only just past the point where you're 50-50 to be expected to have both of those cards in your hand.
That looks weird with 6 cards left.
Right, it's when there are 9 cards left, you are around 48% to have both those cards, assuming you're mulliganing for them. Like, it's actually far less likely than most people would think without doing the maths.
Because people remember the blow-up turns, right? And the big games where it happens on curve. I mean, I just say just get good at mulliganing.
What is a loon's will?
We've seen Amnesiasc pull himself out of some tricky spots here, but YAYtears is at no limit of aggression. With the it's not like YAYtears has one card in hand and he's got to just chip away, chip away. No, he has multiple cards in hand that he can play. Then he has a card that puts more cards in his hand that will be playable in the next couple of turns.
And now Amnesiasc's having to scramble. He's having to dissect pieces of that Prophet Velen combo that he's been hoarding up until now. The Shadow Visions had to go to look for a Shadow Word Death for the Raza on the previous turn. Now he's forced to Holy Smite to deal with the board pressure and pick up some healing off Priest of the Feast. So he is running out of cards to even get value out of Shadow Reaper Anduin with.
It really is a problem. Like I said, it's not as if YAYtears has no cards, but Amnesiasc might get to that point himself. Lyra number 2 and 3.
Sure.
So now there's 4 Razas and 3 Lyras. 4 if you count Amnesiascs in this game.
Yeah.
Okay. Who's been working out? And gained tentacles for arms.
This is looking as good as done. Great Healing Potion can still stabilize, but there's no answer to a 5/11. It would have needed to have been Shadow Reaper Anduin into staying alive for 1 turn, into restabilizing with Greater Healing Potion. Amnesiasc doesn't get it. Not even going to drag things out with the Healing Potion. He just gives it up, realizes YAYtears had him in that matchup, and YAYtears 1 game away. Let's talk about Amnesiasc's mentality. As you mentioned, he's already been in this exact spot once and missed out. And we know how much this quest to return to the World Championships means to him. Can you possibly keep a cool head in this kind of pressure situation the second time around?
Personally, for me, no.
Okay.
But I think in general, no matter how cool, calm, collected you are in this spot when you were 0-2, and this is your last chance. This is the summer playoffs. There are no more goes at getting to the World Championships left this year. You'd have to wind it all and go all the way back to next year just to be able to have another go at it. And Amnesiasc's put on an impressive performance all year, but could miss out again. And this has got to be feeling very rough. I don't care how cool you are. You might disagree, but I think this is a heavy emotional toll on you as a player when you're at this exact game.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. Part of the reason why I moved away from competition and towards being on this side of the desk is just the level of emotional turmoil that Hearthstone puts you through. And I genuinely just, didn't have the personality to handle it day in, day out, every day. And my hat goes off and my heart goes out to all of these players that can. Amnesiasc has shown time after time that he is able to handle it. That's why he's such a consistent player. But YAYtears, on the other hand, complete reversal of fortunes. This is not a guy with HCT experience. I believe he's entered 1 playoff in the past and he went 0-2.
Also, it was 2016.
Yeah.
It was actually 2016. Let me see. Spring. Over a year ago.
That's a 0-2 record. To now make it all the way back, picked up a rank 2 legend finish last season, I believe it was, and then coming back with a vengeance. Now 1 game away for being USA's sole representative at the Summer Championship.
A lot of pressure, and we saw that at the end of that last game. YAYtears was in a dominating position. Amnesiasc conceded. He's like, oh yeah, because he just knows. He's like, I might be ahead, but things can still go wrong. But let's focus in on what could be the last game of the last quarterfinals of playoffs for summer and of the year, actually. YAYtears 2-0 versus Amnesiasc on the Pirate Warrior. The young Savage defending with the Priest again. He needs to get a win with every class. There's nothing to think about. Locking in that Priest, saying he's confident.
And obviously, the patches being on board here is not what YAYtears wanted, but it is at least getting him into the position where Bloodsail Cultist can buff next turn. And Amnesiasc does not have the tools to answer it right now. In fact, if there was the N'Zoth's first mate hanging around, Potion of Madness, strangely enough, would be able to deny that Bloodsail Cultist.
I was going to make a joke, but I won't. TJ's already said it today. At my expense.
Yeah.
Would have been fun. Just know that. Just know that, chat.
Can't just imply a joke. You know, like, oh, it would have been funny.
It would have been.
All right.
I can and I did, so.
All right.
YAYtears, look at this. Very scary. That's Zoss first, mate. Very scary already here for Amnesiasc. There's 12 damage just from the weapon. There's Arcanite Reaper and there's green skin available.
Yeah. This War
It
Axe
just adds up to lethal.
This War Axe is going infinite.
Ooh. Unless he misclicks on the Zoss first, mate, next turn.
Yeah.
He's just doing what he can, but...
Yeah, what can he do?
Oh, he's
just
limited.
scrambling. Oh,
okay.
baby.
I think you need to stick a fork in Amnesiasc because I think he's done. This is potentially, well, I think just an insurmountable effort required for Amnesiasc to come back into this game. Great healing potion. Yeah, it'll extend the game if he goes down that route. But look at the damage, not just in the minions that Amnesiasc cannot currently deal with, but the weapon, then the Reaper, then the greenskin on top. So he can greenskin the War Axe, which becomes a Reaper, effectively. Even if it got destroyed, Reaper gets played. Go, 10 more damage and the greenskin's on the board. There is the Dragonfire potion with coin next turn, which can clear up this board. But is that too late?
I think it is.
That one, there's another Corcoran nail in the coffin.
Depending, oh, okay, I was going to say, depending on YAYtears' play here, he did not have to commit Captain Greenskin, which is a huge minion in itself, into the potential coin Dragonfire potion. He could have chilled, he could have just swung away with his weapon, committed the Arcanite Reaper instead, and then waited to see if the AoE came out, and then reloaded with Greenskin afterwards to buff the Arcanite Reaper.
The problem with the Reaper, though, is Amnesiasc is playing an Ooze, right? So if you pre-equip the Reaper and get Ooze, then that's a problem.
Have you seen the size of this weapon, Raven? You think he has Ooze right now?
You might draw it.
Okay, sure.
Amnesiasc going through all the options here. Kazakus can make things happen.
Yeah.
But not this turn, I don't think. I don't think there's a 1 mana that gets him out of this. He can, what, deal 3, freeze 1? Would make him survive? Does go for the Dragonfire. YAYtears now has 9 damage this turn. Oh, Blood Cell Raider as well. I mean, get him.
Yeah.
Get him.
That is 11 damage back on board. That is Amnesiasc down to 5. There is a Reaper in hand. Amnesiasc has to full clear and taunt or heal to survive just this turn, let alone all the extra turns he needs to stabilize.
Yeah, Amnesiasc going for that deal 3 and then freeze 1, gain armor, anything at this point. Does have deal 3 as an option. We can see, though, that the Reaper is live and freeze.
This means he's not healing, which means if he's not gaining 4, he's dead.
He couldn't do all 3. Amnesiasc doesn't know this, of course. We see the Arcanite Reaper, not him.
Yeah. He has to,
this
solve
is
the
the play.
problem that's
Yeah,
on
yeah,
the board
this
in
is
front
the
of him
play.
right now.
Even silence. Like silencing the 7-3 to a 2-3. Well, guess what? Heal plus Reaper. Just isn't going to get there. He needed to do it all, and he's not managed it.
Game 4 armor, freeze a random minion. Hit the 2-3. That was the one play that kept him alive through Arcanite Reaper. He needed to hit the 4-3.
Believe it.
Arcanite
done
Reaper
it.
coming down. YAYtears is going to be USA's sole representative, and it's twice going out on the win and in-game now for Amnesiasc. You have to feel for him, but this is YAYtears' time. He is going to be coming to LA.
Yeah, and you could tell then, every single game, and right at the end, almost couldn't believe it. The relief, I think, that was on his face in an instant was just told the story, basically, for me. Absolutely amazing from YAYtears. Again, heart goes out to Amnesiasc. That was a very rough series for him, considering how well he has done, and he's missed his chance at the Summer Championships. But there we go. There's our 4 players. They're going to be representing the Americas.
And they will be representing the Americas right here at the ACT Summer Championships in beautiful LA. YAYtears is going to be joining that illustrious list of players that we've seen qualify from the other 3 regions, as well as his 3 compatriots from the Americas.
Yeah, absolutely amazing performance, to be honest. Just seeing the dominance of that Hunter throughout his run, not just the one game there, but his run was absolutely huge. And I think we've seen 2 players out of the 4 that have qualified took Hunter, and there were a few more in the, the 5-2 sort of bubble going on. So it's a good shout. We've talked a lot about lineup approaches to Swiss. Lineup approaches. How do you build it? What are you aiming for? What do you expect? I don't think many people called Hunter. Nope,
not many people did, but one man who did is joining us on the line, I believe. YAYtears, how are you feeling right now, buddy?
Yeah, I'm feeling amazing, man. My God, so excited after that game.
Yeah, so huge congratulations, of course, and I just want to ask you, how nerve-wracking was it going in for the win-and-in match against Amnesiasc? How did you feel?
Well, last time I played Amnesiasc, I was he swept my warrior mostly, so I was afraid that my warrior would get swept. But I just threw the nuts every game. This time, even patches on 1 was good for me because I got to upgrade my axe.
Yeah, and also no Potion of Madness problems as well, so you just play the patches, no Nazos first mate to trade them into.
We noticed throughout the series, though, that you were getting more and more excited, perhaps more and more tense as well as it was going on and you were getting closer. Now that you've had, the adrenaline payoff or the adrenaline crash, describe how you're feeling right now about qualifying.
Yeah, I just feel amazing. It felt easier than it should have been, honestly.
Well.
But I respect Amnesiasc. He's a good player.
Yeah, Amnesiasc a great player, but you did what you needed to do to get there. And I just want to ask you as well, for me especially, what made you bring Hunter in the... of course, I'm going to ask about Hunter. What made you bring it in your lineup? And we saw how successful it's been based on record, that you've done very well with it. So why?
Yeah, I've seen Asmodai hit rank 1 with Hunter, so that was my inspiration. And then I tried testing it out a lot, and I noticed that they pretty decent matchup against Warrior and Priest, which were 2 decks I wanted to target.
Awesome, I'm glad it's gone well for you.
So you had played Amnesiasc in the Swiss before, right? And you went 0-3, and this time you went 3-0. Was there any difference in the series that you can pinpoint, or was it just a reversal of fortunes?
I just drew better this series. Last series he drew better, but he had Galactus and he drew Rasa Anduin and the Priest Mirror. But this time I just reversed the RNG on him.
Okay, well, we will let you go and celebrate again. A huge congratulations, and we'll see you in LA in a few weeks.
All right, thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, so here are the 4 players that are going to be going from the Americas playoffs. It's going to be Purple, Empanizado, Nulgadan, and YAYtears. What a lineup for them. I would feel Purple leading the way in terms of star power, but from everything we've seen from these players, I think a very strong 4 for Americas.
An incredible diversity as well. The Canadian, USA, Argentina, and Mexico all being represented. That's fantastic just for the power of the North American